Hello, my dear student. Good morning. Myself, Dr. Mahesh Kumar, and today my lecture is on topic portal hypertension. The term portal hypertension is mainly associated with some familiar words like alcohol intake, cirrhosis of liver, ascites, splenomegaly, and varices. Before going to detail of the portal hypertension, a brief review about the portal vein is required. The term portal means a porta or entrance to an organ, especially that through which the blood is carried to the liver. The portal vein formed by the veins of splenic area that conveys its blood into the liver means carry blood from digestive organs to liver. The portal vein made of splenic vein and superior mesenteric vein behind the neck of pancreas. The splenic vein, after receiving inferior mesenteric vein, joins behind the neck of pancreas with superior mesenteric vein and ultimately form the portal vein. The length of the portal vein is 5 to 8 centimeter, extrahepatic course length, and the portal vein divide at porta hepatis into right and left side branch. The contribution of portal vein is that 75% of the blood supply to the liver is carried out by portal vein. Then what is portal hypertension? The hypertension means raise in the pressure, and portal means a veins. Then portal hypertension means there is some existing veins, existing pressure which raised during some pathological conditions. The normal pressure in portal vein is 8 to 12 mmHg, and the portal hypertension is means the increase of pressure in portal vein. The portal hypertension said when portal vein pressure raises more than 25 mmHg or 20 centimeter of saline. The pressure may goes up to 30 mmHg or more, and basically due to blockage in the blood flow through the liver. The portal hypertension is due to obstruction in part of the portal vein or its tributaries or its portal venules in liver or in hepatic veins draining into inferior vena cava. Means the obstruction in part of portal vein or its tributaries which causes either hepatic causes, extrahepatic causes, post-hepatic causes, etc. These ultimately raises the pressure of the portal vein. Within the portal vein the pressure raises. What are the causes or etiology of the portal hypertension? These are classified into three: prehepatic cause, hepatic cause, and post-hepatic cause. The common review of causes of portal hypertension are as liver cirrhosis, other is clots at the portal vein system, post-hepatic venous blockage, that means there is obstruction of the flow of the blood after the liver which going through the heart. The parasitic infection. Now the liver cirrhosis is the most common cause of the portal hypertension. As you know that scarring occurs mainly after infections in liver, hepatitis means inflammation in the liver, alcohol intake, and this scarring obstructs the blood flow through liver. Now I am going just one by one in detail. The prehepatic causes, which is also known as extrahepatic portal hypertension. The extrahepatic portal hypertension mostly seen in 20% to 25% of cases. It is common in female children, and the liver functions test or liver functions normally in prehepatic causes, means there is no disturbed liver function. The causes includes the splenic vein thrombosis, portal vein thrombosis, portal vein agenesis. The next one is the hepatic causes or intrahepatic portal hypertension. This covers the 80% of cases, and the hepatic causes is most common causes of the portal hypertension. It includes the cirrhosis of liver, the commonest one. Other is the infection. Next is tumors, and some idiopathic causes are also responsible. The cirrhosis of liver is mainly responsible for hepatic causes of portal hypertension. The next one is the post-hepatic causes of portal hypertension. Means the medical causes of portal hypertension is mostly seen due to medical conditions or causes, and it is rarely seen as compared to hepatic and prehepatic causes. The common causes are like Budd-Chiari syndrome, bilharziasis, constrictive pericarditis, and tricuspid incompetence. These are the causes that included in the post-hepatic causes which obstruct the flow of blood from liver towards the heart site. Anastomosis between portal vein and systemic vein. The anastomosis between portal vein and systemic veins occurs at the lower end of the esophagus. The branches from azygous vein, systemic vessels involved, and this finally affects the esophageal varices. At the umbilicus site, and means that the anterior abdominal wall veins, it forms the caput medusae. At the lower end of the rectum, the portal vein and systemic veins anastomize and results in piles or rectal varices. At retroperitoneum site, the portal vein and systemic vein anastomize and form retroperitoneal varices silently. Means the anastomosis between portal vein and systemic veins occurs at the side of esophagus, umbilicus, distal rectum, and retroperitoneum. What are the clinical features of portal hypertension? The clinical features: history of liver disease or history of liver cirrhosis, history of alcohol intake, etc. as common in cases of portal hypertension. The main symptoms and complications are as like bleeding from GIT, gastrointestinal tract, like blood in stool, which have features of black tarry stool. The excess blood vomiting or marked blood vomiting, it's due to varices rupture. The features of ascites seen: patient have confusion stage or decrease in alertness, forgetful. Encephalopathic symptoms: disturb liver function test, platelet count and blood cells seen reduced. These are the features which are commonly in general seen in portal hypertension. Depends upon the severity of the cases. The features and clinical history are, you can say that what the comparison between extrahepatic portal hypertension and intrahepatic portal hypertension. The factors, age factors: the extrahepatic portal hypertension seen in 10 to 25 years. In intrahepatic portal hypertension, it is seen above the 40 years of age. In extrahepatic portal hypertension, history of alcohol intake or addiction absent, while in intrahepatic it is mostly and excessively present. Jaundice history in extrahepatic absent, in intrahepatic it is present. The sex factor: extrahepatic is common in female and intrahepatic is more in male or men. The splenic enlargement is more moderate or big in extrahepatic, and in intrahepatic cases the spleen enlargement is mild to moderate. The features of ascites are absent in extrahepatic while present in intrahepatic. The liver cell failure are absent or not seen in extrahepatic while seen in intrahepatic cases. The encephalopathic features not seen in extrahepatic portal hypertension while it is common in intrahepatic portal hypertension. How to diagnose a case of portal hypertension? Next, the history taking and examination is the important important clue regarding the diagnosis. Alcohol intake history, chronic liver disease history, liver cirrhosis history, history of hepatitis, liver trauma, features of ascites, dilated vein varices, dilated vein and varices at esophageal sites, etc. give the clue regarding the diagnosis of portal hypertension. The lab investigations also includes the CBC. CBC in this case there may be some clotting factor disturbances, platelet count may be reduced, WBC count may be reduced, depends upon the cases and conditions. The liver function test mostly seen disturbed in hepatic causes, while normal in extrahepatic causes. The other radiological investigations include the barium swallow or gastrographin test, portal phlebography, esophagoscopy, esophagogastroduodenoscopy, splenoportovenography, and the ultrasonography. The ultrasonography is important investigations in many diseases, in many conditions of the portal hypertension, to assess the nature of the liver, means liver cirrhosis, to know the portal vein, portal cavernoma, splenic vein diameter, etc. It has become a valuable investigation today. Now, how to manage a case of portal hypertension? The general management like avoid the causative factors, stop alcohol intake, keep your liver healthy or try to keep liver healthy. Treatment given according to cause, and the truth is that the most of the causes are incurable or not permanently curable, but the conditions of curability depend on the seriousness of the patient, the status of the illness, liver functions of the patient, bleeding status in the patient, and conditions of varices, hemorrhages of varices, etc. The aim mainly to prevent the complications, to manage the complications and symptomatic treatment. These are the primary aim while doing the management of portal hypertension. The management of bleeding is serious issue and is emergency, and emergency treatment is required in these cases. Other measures in the management are like diet and lifestyle modifications, make a healthy liver conditions, conservative drugs or medications which are helpful for the treatment of portal hypertension, endoscopic therapy and management with the help of endoscopic tools, and finally other treatment is the surgery. Now I am going to detail about the management. These are classified in three groups are like primary prophylaxis, secondary prophylaxis, and acute variceal hemorrhage. In primary prophylaxis, the aim is to reduce portal vein pressure and intravaricial pressure so that complications prevented or reduced. The drugs used in primary prophylaxis is the beta blockers like propranolol. Propranolol alone or propranolol with isosorbide mononitrate is indicative in various conditions of the portal hypertension for the primary prophylaxis. The endoscopic band ligation also includes as a primary prophylaxis. The secondary prophylaxis, the aim of the secondary prophylaxis is to prevent rebleeding after acute hemorrhage. Means if there is acute hemorrhage occurs and it's managed, but if you want to prevent rebleed, then the secondary prophylaxis is required. The third one is the acute variceal hemorrhage. To it, the aim of this is to stop the excess bleeding during the variceal hemorrhage. The management of severe bleeding. There are many aspects while doing the management of severe bleeding in or variceous rupture in cases of portal hypertension. First of all, general measures. The portal hypertension severe bleeding requires hospitalization, hospital care, and also needs admission in intensive care unit ICU. The food in elevated provide rest, sedations, and the fresh blood transfusion is required in these cases. Fluid replacement is required to prevent from the hypovolemic shock. Prevention of the encephalopathy. Stomach wash with ice cold saline is done, and the procedure performed with the help of Ryle's tube. Stomach wash done with the help of Ryle's tube. The next one is the next step to prevent the encephalopathic conditions in severe bleeding is bowel wash. While doing the bowel wash, it decreases the gut blood, that further decreases the ammonia or uric acid from in the gut, and it prevents the encephalopathic conditions. The oral neomycin 1 gram 6 hourly and the oral lactulose 30 ml 8 hourly is indicative in cases of prevention of encephalopathy. The drugs or medications include injection vasopressin, injection somatostatin, injection octreotide, and injection metoclopramide. The aim is to prevent the bleeding and stop vomiting, etc. Endotherapy includes or endoscopic therapy includes variceal banding, sclerotherapy, balloon tamponade with sanguine tube. TIPS means transjugular intrahepatic portosystemic stent shunt. The final management procedure is surgery. It includes two types: devascularization methods or procedures and portosystemic shunt or procedures or portal decompressions. The portal decompressions include portocable, splenorenal, mesentericocable, distal splenorenal shunt, etc. At the end, I may able to say that the conclusion of the portal hypertension is that the portal hypertension is basically associated with some familiar terms like alcohol, cirrhosis of liver, ascites, splenomegaly, and varices. The causative factors: alcohol intake, hepatitis, or parasitic infections, or some other causes may lead to cirrhosis of liver. Cirrhosis of liver means scarring in the liver tissue, and these scarring results in the obstruction in the blood flow from the portal vein to livers and from liver to other sides. This ultimately results in to develop ascites, splenomegaly, and varices. This is all about the portal hypertension. Hope you will able to understand the things. If you have any query, you may ask. Thanks for your patience listening. Thank you so much.